And we are live from Orlando. How are you today? It is Thursday night at 7:30, 7 o'clock rather, and I'm hanging out with you guys, answering all things real estate, theme parks, and living in Orlando questions. We already got people chiming in already, but as you know, we ask every single time when people are joining us is let us know where you're watching from today. This is like my favorite thing to talk about, is figuring out, are people living here locally or hanging out here locally? Are they thinking about moving here? We already have plenty of other people checking in, saying that they're excited to move here, and so that's exciting as well. Let's see, we got Stephanie checking in from Simpsonville, South Carolina. We got Robert checking in from Greenville, South Carolina. Are you guys like right next to each other? How far is Greenville, South Carolina and Simpsonville? I'm kind of curious. Robert says, looking to make the Orlando move very soon. George says, what's going on from the Orlando area? What's up, George? Good to see you. It said, Robert Colton said that they moved down. Oh, people are asking, they're already getting together in the comment section. We love it. Lost Lion said, I'm excited to move to Orlando. We got Brenda checking in from St. Charles, Illinois. We got Pickles checking in saying, hey, happy Thursday from Hills of Mineola. Welcome back, Ken. Detroit Tigers fans want to know who's your Tiger. Scooble has to be my Tiger. I mean, he's the ace. He's the Tiger. I'm actually going up to visit family in Detroit this weekend, and we're going to take in a Tigers game. I'm pretty excited about that as well. Miami Coffee checking in from Miami. We got a bunch of other people checking in from Mount Juliet, a whole bunch of other places. So thank you so much. Keep letting us know down below. JJ, my man, checking in from Hunters Creek. Always the best time with you. Let's get into some of these stories for tonight. Ooh, let's actually go over here. I'm actually alone tonight, which is always a fun thing. I did this for literally 100 episodes in like 3 years, and now I almost forgot how to do it myself. All right, so we've got, this is interesting. Orlando doesn't plan to increase property tax rate next year. So Mayor Dyer says that people in Orlando aren't complaining about the cost of property taxes. It's property insurance that they're most complaining about. And so this is FloridaPolitics.com. Obviously, I don't usually talk about one side or the other, but I just thought it was interesting because this is the only time or place I could find online talking about specifically this. And Mayor Dyer's and the city's plan to not have to increase property taxes for the 12th straight year. And he says that basically the biggest thing that state leaders are potentially ignoring while they're thinking about eliminating property tax is that they should really be focusing in more on property insurance. And so the city commissioners held a budget workshop and had a nearly $1.8 billion budget. And last thing, quote here from Mayor Dyer says, I don't know about you guys, but I can't think of the last time in the last 10 years that I've actually had anybody say anything about property taxes. It's about property insurance, and we need people to be refocused back on that. And so there's lots of things that people complain about in terms of pricing for everything these days. Inflation got a hold of us all. And yet we also had things like hurricanes come through and a lot of other things with insurance that push people out of the state. And now that those are starting to come back, hopefully we see insurance rates continue to decline. And yeah, that being said, there's still a lot of out there that needs to happen to make things a little bit better. Samuel's checking in from Hunters Creek. Let us know if you had to decide, if you had to choose between eliminating property tax altogether, or seeing some significant reduction of that, or having your property insurance cut in half or so. I mean, you probably would choose the real estate tax, right? Now, what's the most likely to happen? Probably getting a hold of insurance, I would think, but let me know in the comments down below. Let's see. We got other people checking from Northville, Michigan. I love that spot. Robert says, what's going on from Claremont? I appreciate that very much. So, all right. So let's keep talking about this because I think that this whole insurance and the insurance claims and everything else going on in Orlando is a really big deal to so many people. This is just today, the U.S. Department of Agriculture, the Secretary Rollins announced $675 million in disaster assistance for farmers in Florida. Now, this is specifically because of the hurricanes that rolled through. Let's see, which ones were they talking about specifically here? It was Helene, Milton, and quite a few others. They've also already given, here we go, $7.8 billion in direct payments between the Emergency Commodity Assistance Program to help agricultural producers mitigate the impacts of increased costs and falling commodity prices. This is wild. And so it got me thinking, how big is our agricultural world here and the economy in Florida? I mean, I know everybody talks about citrus and how that's moved and things have changed. So then I started digging even a little bit deeper to figure out the numbers. And we think about, especially in Orlando, theme parks, we think about economic impact of maybe the defense contracts and space programs and all that kind of thing. But what about the farmers? What does that actually do for Florida? And so I went through this is the most recent I could find, Florida Agricultural by the numbers 2022. And this number floored me. So basically, wild. So Florida agricultural and related industries are the quiet and often overlooked giant in our economy, generating $182 billion in revenue from the state's economy and supporting more than 2.5 million jobs through technology, innovation, and old-fashioned hard work. Their farmers are looking to succeed through 67 different counties. That blew me away. $182 billion in revenue. It makes the theme parks seem okay, but nowhere near. And so then I started going back through again, like what are some of our other industries here in the agricultural field? And so it's, farms and land, citrus, field crops, livestock, vegetables, melons, berries, floriculture. Let's see, dive into here. There we go. Flowers, that kind of thing. Bees and honey colonies, aquaculture and forestry, as well as our exports and that sort of thing. But anyways, when I think about Florida, agriculture was not the number one thing. I mean, driving between here and like the coast when we go visit Marco Island, which is one of our favorite places, not too far away, it is fields and fields and fields and fields. And so it makes sense, but kind of interesting to me. What's going on? The JT couple from Bella Colina. Good to see you. Let's see. Robert says State Farm is now writing new policies in Florida. That's huge. That's huge. I mean, again, the more insurance companies that we can have back in the States, the more competition there is, and then hopefully pricing continues to fall. But when we had so many people, especially through the past 3 to 5 years, leave, not awesome in regards to insurance costs. All right, so let's talk about Taylor Swift. I know a lot of people are Swifties. Maybe you are, maybe you're not. My wife is. We took her to the Taylor Swift concert later on. And so when I saw Taylor Swift and Orlando announced in the same news headline this week, I had to jump on it. And so it's not exactly what you'd think. So Madame Tussauds Orlando gets one of the 13 new Taylor Swift wax figures. Which era did Florida get? So this is like, if you've not been paying attention, the Eras tour, they've got different apparently albums that she's on. So they split this up to 13 different ones. And we get the, the Reputation era, which my 6, 7-year-old and 13-year-old are going to be very excited, which got me thinking, like, have you guys seen the new animatronic with Walt Disney out in Disneyland? Because I want to know in the comments, like, let me know. Do you think that looks like Walt? Does it look maybe like Tom Hanks playing Walt Disney? That's the way I think it looks. Not exactly right here, but these wax figures that they create look pretty darn close. And so I'm like, if they can figure it out there, why can't we figure it out with an animatronic? I don't know. Just let me know here down below. Eric says, checking in from Minnesota, agriculture is big, but the margins are very thin. Theme parks are much more profitable, value added, profitable. Yeah, that makes a ton of sense, which is when you see like government stepping in to do so many of these, $7.8 billion in relief through the past few years. It's massive. And then adding on another almost $700 million. It's a big one. All right, let's see. Wesley says, had chicken fire last week on Dylan's recommendation. Loved it, but I'm still recovering. Oh, man. Speaking of chicken, if you've gone to like that side of town where we call it like Chicken Run, where you had so many different chicken shops kind of all in the row there, one of my favorites, Guy Fieri, closed its doors in Winter Park. So this is interesting because people thought, maybe there's refurbing, something's going on. If you've ever been to the one in Disney Springs, they've expanded and the place is just constantly packed. And yet the one in Winter Park closed. This is kind of wild. So it says the chain closed its doors to focus on regional growth and national expansion through new franchises, which doesn't make a ton of sense to me because this was like a brand new space that opened. But if you think about how much competition they had up and down that strip, it does make quite a bit of sense. Alexa, wonderful agent on our team, says Travis Kelce's mom lives in Baldwin Park, so Taylor is bound to visit us sometime. She's probably already been here. We just didn't know because you Swifties would be all up on her, and I get it. I understand. Let's see. All right, we keep going here. So, what other things are going on in terms of food? Now, this is not the most healthy conversation, and yet, we're talking chicken fire, we're talking chicken guy. But what about In and Out? I know a lot of you folks, especially from the West Coast, are big In and Out fans, and so this actually just came out this past week. So we're still saying no. This iconic West Coast burger chain still snubbing Florida. So the CEO Lindsay Snyder says the chain's going to not expand to Florida or really any other East Coast states, even though through COVID, especially, we had so many people moving here from California asking for In and Out to come. They're saying that they're going to be moving, I think, headquarters to Nashville, it sounds like. And they're going to carve out, that's about as far as they're going to come. And it has to do with freshness, apparently. Again, I'm not a huge In and Out fan. The people that rave about these things, I had it for the first time when I was in California last year. And I was like, it's fine. It's fine. But they say that it's super fresh. And the reason why they're not going to expand farther east is because they want to make sure that their produce and their meat is as fresh as possible. And there's no way that they can get it to the East Coast. Apparently, they've got a California operation and a Texas operation. And so for whatever reason, they can't get it all the way over here quick enough. I don't know. We'll see. Mr. Sean, what's going on? Hey, from Claremont. I believe the face has to make moves, so it's difficult to get the face correct compared to wax figures. I agree. And yet, like wild comparison, I know, Walt Disney versus what I'm about to say. But when I went to Epic Universe and I saw Monsters Unchained and how insanely good those look, I mean, Frankenstein looks like Frankenstein, and he's moving his mouth and he's all around. To me, if they can do that, and Victoria Frankenstein and all the other ones, I don't know, they can make Walt Disney look good. I mean, he literally created animatronics. You got to make that one look good, in my opinion. I don't know. That's just what I'm thinking. Let's see what other ones we got here. We're going to talk about today. Halloween Horror Nights. If you guys are a Halloween Horror Nights fan, let me know down in the comments below. It is interesting. They finally got everything released this past week, and the newest ones they talked about were these shows. And so Halloween Horror Nights 2025 shows revealed, and so they've got Nightmare Fuel, so Circus of Decay. Nightmare Fuel is like one of my favorite shows in all of Orlando, whether that's Halloween or not. It's wild how they have pyrotechnics and just the whole it's absolutely wild. So this one, Nightmare Fuel, Circus of Decay, I think this is going to be very, very cool. But the other thing that I have back for the first time since 2022 is Ghoulish Journey Haunt-O-Phonic. And so this is actually going to be the nighttime show over at the Lagoon. And it's fantastic. Like what they do over there, not only for HHN, but during the year, I love their nighttime shows there. So I'm just stoked to see how this comes through here. I started going through, I have still not got any of my HHN tickets for this year. And so I was going through the website, looking at the different costs of everything. And so you got the night tickets starting at $83. But my favorite, okay, yeah, you got Express add-on, $160. You've got the premium Scream Nights, which is one night only on August 28th for $415. That includes all you can care to enjoy select and food and drinks, shorter wait times because they're going to limit the amount of people in there. But the one-time thing, if you have not done this, I think this is something, especially if you live here, is this Unmasking the Horror Tour is one of the coolest things I was able to experience. You basically pick three, and it's either a 3 package or a 6 package, and you get to do a lights on tour. And these start at $9. I was actually surprised when I saw this, $99 to be able to do lights on tour. You learn so much about how they create the scenes and hearing the stories. For me, that's what it's all about. I love HHN as it goes, when you should show up as a guest, but getting to see how much actually goes into, and just like even the little things that you're just not even going to notice that they put up and they hide. And they're like, oh, somebody might notice that, or you'll feel that as you're walking through. And that's what makes all of this so great. It is the scare actors. It is all of the other things, but the storytelling about it, some of my favorite things that we've got here going on in Orlando. Let's see. Yeah. All right. So George says, how is In and Out versus Whataburger? You guys can comment down below. Mitch says he misses In and Out. maybe it misses you too. I don't know, man. George says, will a fifth park be built by 2030? I don't believe it will. Actually, I think it can't be built by 2035 is what they say. The way that the charter searches here, I think we're just going to continue to expand. We've had, I interviewed Scott Gustin on our Orlando Reel channel not too long ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. And we were talking through like, we think that they're just going to continue to expand the parks. And really, if you add a fifth gate, something else is going to suffer. Like Animal Kingdom probably suffers. You have all these other little add-ons they're doing to the parks, which I think is going to, it's going to be good, right? I think you're going to look up 4 or 5 years from now and be really happy with the Disney product. But a fifth gate just doesn't seem like it's in the cards, at least not really for me. Jose says, Whataburger is way better. I got it. I don't know. I should try them all, apparently. All right. Celebrity-backed virtual tour gaming venue Sandbox VR is set to open here. Now, if you've ever been to the VR over at Disney Springs before that was a COVID casualty, the Star Wars VR, some of my favorites. Like I was really surprised me because you go in there and it's not just a VR headset and you're walking through, but I mean, it was warm in one area. And as you're walking through feeling like you're in a volcano, it was a cool experience overall. But Sandbox VR opens its first Orlando location on July 25th. The franchise owners invested $2 million in a 5,500 square foot space. And this is by the Orlando Business Journal. Virtual reality entertainment concepts will be at Point Orlando, which continues to add more and more things over at Point Orlando. I think it's pretty cool. It's described as your neighborhood holodeck, where 2 teams of 2 to 6 people put on virtual reality headsets, motion centers, and play games. Costs are roughly $50 per person. And Orlando location has 5 different worlds for groups to choose from Squid Games, a pirate theme called Curse of Davy Jones. This is something that I plan on taking my kids to in the next couple of weeks. I'm like VR, all that kind of stuff. Super fun. Sean says, I think Disney is doing the right thing by fixing the current parks and doing expansion. Example, Disney enhancing animation courtyard. They need to figure out some transportation first between the parks. Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm stoked about what's coming to Hollywood Studios. It's already my favorite park, but adding in animation and then monsters area and then moving Muppets over and redoing the retheme there, I think it's going to be really great when it's all done. Like I know people love throwing shade on Disney and everything else that they've got going on. But for me, I think I'm excited about the direction that's finally going. All right, let's talk about this from the Growth Spotter. Our friends over there, Laura Kinsler, if you're watching, how are you? Planners recommend overlay district for West Colonial Corridor. Now, if you don't know where this is, I'm going to scroll down. They got a little map here, which I think is interesting. So this is if the Creative Village is right down here. There we go. So this whole like College Park up north here, Creative Village down south, and this whole section of Colonial is rough. And this is kind of all the way to Tampa Ave. And right now, so like, how do you spur growth? And this is the one thing that we talk about often is like, what does healthy growth look like? What is it that we can do to work with developers to get them excited about investing in these areas? And so it's part of it is creating an overlay to make things a little bit easier and saying, okay, we are going to kind of pre-agree that retail, restaurants, mixed use, residential on properties with office and some of these kind of things are sort of pre-agreed. So developers know that they can go into these areas and invest and not have to go through years of rezoning to then get a no. And so they time is money, especially in the development world where you're paying interest sometimes, or you're paying option fees on some of these land deals. And so they're just saying, hey, listen, what if we take this area and we pre-agree that this is kind of what could come here, and then hopefully spur on some different development in this area. And I think turning it around, it's needed, especially in that area. And so you look at, this is some of the overlays that they're looking at, what they would like to see in terms of office and retail, some different residential. If this happens, if you could see yoga on West Colonial, that would be an interesting sight to see compared to what's over there now. But let me know, what other areas of town do you feel like maybe need some of this love, where you're like, it would be, because this, I mean, right next to College Park, frankly, it would make a lot of sense because you leave College Park and it just kind of dives down. pretty fast. And then you go to Creative Village, which is beautiful. It's almost like it needs to connect. So do you ever drive around and you're like, this one area, why is it just still just kind of sitting here? Like it seems like such underused opportunity. This is one for sure that I think I'm excited to see kind of what happens. I'm going to go back over to your questions. Mr. Sean says, have I tried agave bendino in Hamlin yet near Popstroke? I have not. So many of our team members have, and I've just been dying to go try that myself. Popstroke's opening up like next month, which I'm stoked about. We're going to do the media day there the day before it opens. And so I'll definitely give you guys some insights into what we find there. But I think it's great. I mean, the amount of things coming to the Hamlin area just continues to get better. Finally, Lifetime, all the good stuff coming over there. Let's talk about a downtown project real quick here. All right, so Art 2, if you've ever driven past this, this right here there's Crafton Common. We've got Robinson. This is the downtown area right here. Robinson and North Orange, this spot right here. And if you've driven by it, it's an interesting one because it looks very similar to this right here. And so just over the past week, basically the local mobile food experience company, a la carte, maybe at play, to elevate the experience for the soon-to-be open downtown Orlando park. And the city commissioners redevelopment agency met on June 25th. They said that they're consider the Orlando-based company should manage the Art 2 Pocket Park coming here. And so now it looks like this is actually going to be moving forward. So they also have two other locations, the a la carte. So this is one in Milk District and another one over in Soto. So they're a well-known kind of local company. But if you have not driven downtown lately, I was just over at Lake Eola for a meeting the other day, and you can start to see some of these new things finally starting to come through. Actually, I want to show you. Let's see. Some of the renderings are actually pretty great. And so now that they're actually moving forward and you see a ton of construction going on, it's like one of those things where, is it going to happen? Isn't going to happen? Is it not? And to see it finally moving forward is like, oh, that's going to be pretty cool. Let's see. Art 2. What else do we have going on? Entrance. Here we go. Oop, I need to get my little switcher back. So they're kind of trying to redo a lot of these downtown areas where you've got these pocket parks coming at the entrance of Lake Eola, around Lake Eola. Eventually, they're going to have, again, these places that you can eat and just sort of enjoy that little space right now. Because right now it feels a little desolate. There we go. This is the part where it sort of blew me away. There we go. When you start to see activations of parks like this around the downtown area, I think this is great. I know many people, when I talk about these things on like especially Instagram and TikTok, will say, well, what about the homeless? You're just creating a lot of places for this. There's actually some other pieces coming down from the federal level and the state level around unhoused people around town. And so I know the city is working on, I did an interview with David Barilla not too long ago, where they're going to be taking out like buses and turning them into places where people can sleep and shower and that sort of thing. But really, safety in downtown and giving a place for these folks to go is important. And also backing up and saying like, we need to draw people downtown so that like retail and some of the other spots that are all closed down there have people to sell to, right? Like it's like this sort of chicken and egg kind of thing. If we don't clean up downtown, make it a place people want to go, retail will never come back. And if retail doesn't come back, people want to go downtown. So it's sort of this vicious cycle. So let me know down below in the comments, like, have you been to downtown at all lately? Like, is this something that you stay away from, or is it like you just hanging out at Mills? I was there, like I went to Tori Tori for the first time, by the way. Tori Tori is holy moly. Like it's not underrated. It's appropriately rated because it's like got a Michelin recommendation. Holy crap. That place blew me away. But yeah, there's not as many of those kind of places in the downtown core, which is sorely needed. Let's see. JJ says that downtown Orlando, downtown Claremont, downtown Kissimmee all have so much potential. And I agree. JJ, I'm not sure if you saw it, but over in the Neo City area, they're talking about, they finally are moving forward with the arts center there, like the performing arts center there. And they've got like $125 million that has been allocated, but they need like another $100 million to go. But when I was looking at how close, Neo City's on the map. Look at this, is actually, it's actually really close to downtown. Here we go. downtown Kissimmee. Here we go. So we got like downtown Kissimmee, Lakefront Park right here, and then Neo City is right over here. And then the fact that it is quite close to the turnpike. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, we need people to invest and continue to like want to move forward with that. But Neo City Academy, the semiconductor jobs that are coming there, like if that could actually spur being that close to downtown Kissimmee, I think it's going to be really good. Again, time will tell. But Samuel says, I was in downtown Orlando for SAC Comedy Club last week. Who'd you see? Anybody good? Let us know. Rojan says, I live in the center of downtown. It's gotten more and more ghetto over the last 2 years. Got to turn it around, man. All right. So if you live in the center of downtown, then what do you want to see happen? I mean, other than maybe not being as more and more ghetto over the past 2 years, but like, what do you want to see? Is it like more restaurants? Is it more, what else is missing? I think I would love to hear from you. Angela says, you know when they're going to activate streetlights near the corner of the golf course just before Showfield? It's kind of dangerous. Yeah, you're right, Angela. That area, I drive that almost every day and night. And yeah, they haven't even, they started installing the poles, but they haven't actually done anything over that way. I actually just interviewed Michelle. She's the executive director for the Central Florida Expressway Authority today. And we were talking about that area and the 516 that's going to be connecting, and very, very cool stuff that's happening. But like, we're still years out between that area finally getting complete. And so I think, Angela, that they're probably just going to do a lot more temp lighting until they get some of those overpasses completed, because it doesn't make sense to like finish out all the electrical, finish out the infrastructure, only to have the roads kind of mess it up. That would be my guess. Sam says, oh, he was at SAC Comedy and it was their improv team weekly show called King of the Hill. Do I need to go see this, Samuel? That sounds fun. Improv. Sean says, my wife and I frequent downtown bars to watch football games together. About 3 years ago in downtown, we'd rather go to Disney Springs for safety and easier parking options. For sure. I think a lot of other people are like, we're seeing a lot of people that used to go downtown, hang out at the Point Orlando over on iDrive, which kind of blows me away. Like every time I say that, but there are some really cool places off iDrive now. And, you know, it's an interesting crowd. There's a lot of different diversity in terms of like types of venues as well, which I think draws a lot of people from all around. But safety, that's a big one. Robert has a good question. He says, what are some of the best incentives you're seeing right now from new builders? Listen, it's area dependent for sure. I feel like every builder sort of plays this shell game between closing cost incentives and design center incentives and all of these other sort of things. But we're seeing like many builders that are offering paying your closing costs and also design incentives. Some of them are backing off on their base price, which, Robert, if you've never heard me talk about before, many builders hate touching their base price at all because they want to be able to keep up that sort of shell game for the most part, because if you start lowering your base price, then all of a sudden like appraisals become an issue a year from now when these new houses are closing. And even some builders are lowering some of their base prices just to kind of keep things going. It's interesting. For sure. But reach out. I mean, depending on what area you're looking at, I've seen some builders only offering there's, $10,000 towards closing costs. Other ones are $100,000. Just really depends what area of town you're looking at. Speaking of which, let's do a little real estate update. So this is the Monday morning report by the local region from the MLS, and they kind of go through like what's going on in the real estate market. This number, the months of inventory, this number has actually continued to come down over the past few months throughout summer, which makes sense. It's that time of year where more and more people are buying. But you look at, really everything under 500,000 is still a balanced market. And then as you get over 500,000, it starts to get into a pretty strong buyer's market. And then over 1 million, actually it's 6 months supply of houses, which that was like 8 or 9. And so that's actually come down. But if you are in the luxury market, it's your time to shine if you're thinking about buying, because many of these homes are, not deep discounts, but deep in comparison to what it was a year ago. So like, here's a good example. So on average, over $1 million, they're selling final list price to sale price is roughly 6.5% off. And that's, if you look at the original sales price. So a lot of people are listing at, say, a million one, and then it doesn't sell, so they drop it to a million, and then they're typically taking another 6.5% off of that. But if you look at what the original list price is to final sales price, roughly 11% off what their original number was. So we're starting to see some pretty legitimate movement in regards to overall pricing. Whereas if you look at the price bands like 300 to 500, we're still selling at like 98% of list to sale. So interesting for sure. You think that a lot of people would love to move up. And so we are seeing that where we have a lot of people in that $500,000 to $600,000 range that are looking at that $1 million house, understanding that they can get a deeper discount. So it's just, teach their own. Everybody's path is a little bit different. Let's see. Here we go. This is a question, a recap from when I asked Rojan what he wanted downtown Orlando. He says, downtown needs to curate more people. Yes, keep the nightlife, but make it more variety. We need more fast food too. We have a Taco Bell, which takes an hour to get your food. Rojan, did you ever check out the cantina down there, the Taco Bell cantina? There was always a line out the door. So I was never able to get in, but like it is interesting, Taco Bell and bar mixed together downtown. It seems like a match made in heaven, but who knows? Samuel says he's looking forward to downtown Orlando during Magical Dining Month for sure. What's up, Yaz? Checking in. What's going on? I appreciate you. Brianna says, we have to shout out the new Peruvian restaurant in Lake Mary. So good. Brianna, if you're still watching, let us know what's the name of said Peruvian restaurant. I need to know. Dan O says, hey, I'm just from Massachusetts, work with Brianna Sawyer, bought a new build in St. Cloud, Bay Lake Farms. Brianna is awesome. Well, hey, thanks for working with our team and thanks for hanging out with us tonight. It means a lot. I missed a ton. This is the thing. Not having someone hanging out with me, I always miss questions along the way. Let's see. Here's a good question. So Bailey says Taylor Swift in Orlando. You missed it. You got to go watch the replay later. All right. So Ken, are you still finding strong positive rental income Airbnb opportunities in Orlando? That's an interesting question. So I think Airbnb opportunities right now, it's really hard to cash flow, and they have been for quite some time. Although right now it's interesting because we have a bunch of Airbnb listings, meaning like our sellers are trying to divest of them and sell them. But because they're so booked up right now, it's hard to even show some of these, which is kind of an interesting conundrum. That being said, like I was looking at some of the numbers down in Reunion just today, and there's like 4 times as many Airbnbs on the market for sale than were this time last year. Just in Reunion alone, I think there's like over 110 condos for sale, which is a lot. And so in that, you're finding better and better deals. Like if you're a buyer, because again, if a seller is on the market, they want to be the one that sells. And so if you're looking at somebody that's been on the market for 5, 6, 7 months, one of our buyers just got a deal, like a really great deal on a house that was on the market in there for like a year. Now's the time. Like there's great opportunities to be had like that. But in terms of a cash flow, like it's tough, especially if you're getting a mortgage, because if you're paying, especially if it's a second home, you're probably paying 7.5% interest and then paying a management company and all of these other things. It's just tough. I think that the play for short-term rentals is and always has been like if you're going to own it because you want to use it for a few weeks out of the year and then rent it out while you're not there, that financially makes sense. You have someone else kind of helping with the burden of taxes and insurance, real estate fees and that sort of thing, but you're able to use your place. I have not been able to find great short-term rental cash flow analysis in a while. What's up, Kevin from Lakeland? Good to see you, friend. Mr. Sean says, there's actually some good hotel options downtown. Honestly, the city should offer free shuttles to the parks to promote tourism. I think, yeah, connectivity is a massive one. If they could get the Sunshine Corridor to actually go through and maybe add in some light rail or autonomous vehicles, I don't know what they need to do to get more people down there. But like I was at the Grand Bohemian to grab some food with friends the other day, and it's beautiful. They actually renovated, looks really good. I feel like once Westcourt's done, again, I've been like waiting. We're all waiting for that to actually move forward. Once that actually does that, I think we'll see some more spur of exciting things going downtown. Dave L in Denver says, I want to move back to Florida. Well, come on back, man. Juan Cano says, Ken, I keep seeing people talk about Bella Colina, and I went to go look, but I've never heard of Montverde. Where do you see this neighborhood in 5 years from now in terms of value-wise? Well, Juan, I would say 5 years ago, a lot of people were looking at like Windermere and saying, I don't really want to buy a house for a couple $1,000,000 and renovate. I'm going to go to Montverde, which is where Bella Colina is, and you could build something brand new in a beautiful community with maybe even a little bit larger of a lot. And I think that that's going to continue to do well for years to come. I think they've got a lot of lots left as well. But as that area continues to mature, and the road network expands, it's going to become more and more desirable. So you've got Montverde Academy out there. You've got a few things in Mont, but there's not a lot right there. You have to go over to Claremont. Now, the cool thing about that area, though, is you've got Mineola and some of these other places that are popping off where you've got new retail and new cool things coming. And so, again, I think 5 years from now, Bella Colina is going to continue to do quite well. Pablo checking in from Colombia. What's going on, friend? Mr. B says, I'm checking in from California and thinking of moving to Orlando. Are there any good new builds and tech jobs? I mean, it depends on the type of tech that you're in. If you are in aerospace or defense or one of these many, many other ways here, there's definitely jobs to be had. And there's a lot of new builds. Like it's 30% of the sales overall are going to be that new construction piece here. So lots of options for you if that's the way that you want to go. Yeah, by the way. Jaime Coffee says, one thing certain, I've had no coffee. It's just late in the day. It's like, it's later. Rojan says, what are some few things I can look forward to coming to downtown within the next year? I do think, okay, so it's like the clear thing for me coming into downtown is going to be Lake Eola finally getting finished and updated. It's going to be travel and leisure being finished. And the reason why it's important for you, even if you don't work for travel and leisure, is because if you have 800 people additional working down there every single day, that's going to then force more retail and more things happening in downtown. And then beyond that, you're looking at Westcourt. And once Westcourt's built out and you have that entertainment sort of piece down there with like Live Nation, they're going to have more restaurants again, more things to do, that I think is going to then spur a lot more things happening. It's going to take time for sure. But that's for me, like I look at some of those downtown areas and it's just like they seem so ripe for development. It's just going to be that one or two big projects that then spur off more development. Like nobody wants to be the first one, it feels like, which is kind of like, just get it going. Samus says, hey, is there any news in the Sunbridge area? Any new developments announced? Not in the past, call it month or so. Again, I was just talking to the executive from CFX today, talking about the road going down through there. And once you finally connect sort of like the airport all the way through Sunbridge, it sounds like that's not going to be done for like into 2030 and beyond, which kind of surprised me. Because I was like, for some reason, I thought it was going to be more like 5 years or so and it would be done. I know like 2030 is 5 years from now. I get that. But they were talking about, hey, it might be into the 2030s, which was kind of sad. All right. I've got one more thing for you guys. I got to find it here. Oh, okay. Here we go. I thought this was interesting. Let me know what you guys think about this. So Florida Highway Patrol expands its video chat program aimed at speeding up responses for minor crashes. The Desktop Trooper program allows drivers to work remotely with FHP Trooper, and they get into a minor crash on Central Florida Expressway. Basically, this is what it looks like. Okay, so you've got this right here. And Nick, when you're editing this later, we need to grab this video. This is so sick. So you've got a trooper sitting here and you get in a car accident on one of the toll roads. You can literally hit, let me make sure I get it right. I don't want to get it wrong. Pound. I think it's like star FHP, but hold on, let's double check together. Yeah, there we go. Star FHP. If you type that in, it'll connect you to a dispatcher who assesses the crash if it's minor and eligible for a desk trooper. And then they literally pull up on your phone. They text you a link, and then you show them around your car, you show them around the other person's car, and they'll assess, can they just take pictures from this link and then give you kind of an accident report and send you on your way. The idea with this is a couple things. They think there's only, I don't want to get the number wrong, but there's like basically not enough troopers on the toll roads to keep up with a lot of this stuff just yet. And so, if you get in an accident and it's like, hey, it's an hour or 2 hours before a trooper can come and give you a report, and all you took was maybe you got in a little fender bender, this is going to allow you to literally within maybe 15 to 20 minutes get out of there and on with your day, which then frees up traffic and just all types of good stuff. And so this actually blew me away when I saw this. And this is, I think, with the first municipality here in Florida, like the first one to do it in the country, which I think is very cool. Oh, my name is David. David said random, but do you think Sunbridge will ever have a luxury neighborhood, something like Sunbridge Golf and Country Club? Maybe not like Lake Nona Golf and Country Club is probably what you're thinking. But I could see like higher end homes in there eventually. I think that, especially as it builds out and all the land that's left, it would make total sense that there would be more of a luxury project. I think it's going to be more like Laurel Point kind of vibe, but maybe not gated golf, that kind of thing. All right, guys. I think that we are wrapping up for tonight. It's been good. It's been good to be back with you guys, and we'll be back again next Thursday. Let us know in the comments what other questions you guys might have if you're watching the replay. And before you leave, give us a thumbs up. It does help the reach of our overall show. We'll see you guys. Talk soon.